Master Mental Wellness Video Essay Blog, July 2026. A journey through childhood trauma, philosophical isolation, the healing power of music, and the tenacious choice to live. Part 1. Introduction: The Architecture of a Rambling Mind. July 18, 2026. It is approximately 20:52 hours, exactly 2 days after my 42nd birthday. I am sitting down to log this video update with a deliberate goal: to take the massive, non-linear, rambling torrent of thoughts inside my head and synthesize them into something coherent. For anyone who has followed my journey across dozens, if not hundreds, of hours of video vlogs and millions of written words, you know that my mind does not sit still. It is permanently consumed by a vast, interconnected web of philosophy, theology, sociology, history, science, and the millions of music notes I play, write, and think about daily. Historically, these updates have been colored by an intense, consuming anger. For years, I was outrageously pissed off at the world, at everyone around me, and at the utter failure of my parents to nurture, protect, or take care of me in any tangible, meaningful way. I carried that raw fury close to my chest. But as I cross the threshold into my 42nd year, something fundamental is shifting. The overarching message I have to report today is incredibly positive. Despite the severe physical and mental struggles that still define my daily existence, I am winning. I am choosing life, and the momentum is finally moving forward. Part 2. The Anatomy of Trauma and Dissociation. To understand the breakthroughs I am experiencing today, it is necessary to establish the profound psychological terrain I've had to navigate. Through intensive self-reflection and study, I have come to realize that I live with severe brain damage resulting from mind-boggling, terrifying childhood trauma. When you are subjected to environments that scare you to death as a developing child, terror isn't a choice. It permanently alters the structural architecture of your central nervous system. Because of severe child neglect and abandonment, what I fundamentally call child abuse, my nervous system never developed correctly. My default baseline became an anticipation of death. Anticipating death became my primary lifelong coping mechanism, a way to process a world that felt fundamentally unsafe. This level of trauma inevitably forces the brain to adapt through severe dissociation. For decades, my mind dealt with the overwhelming pain of reality by simply tuning it out, learning to completely forget the trauma while living inside it. It is a dumbfounding, terrifying paradox. The very symptom of this mental illness is that your brain makes you forget you even have it, just so you can handle the basic weight of being alive. To survive, I threw myself into heavy distractions, binging YouTube, losing myself in expansive single-player video games, caring for my animals, and studying complex academic questions. Part 3. Generational Echoes and Learned Helplessness. The roots of this damage trace back directly to family conditioning. Raising a human being requires a cooperative, compassionate foundation. While my mother did the absolute best she could with the tools she had, the two primary father figures in my life were delinquent, negligent, and entirely compassionless. They were deeply infected with their own unaddressed generational trauma. Instead of seeking professional therapy to break the cycle and become competent parents, they simply passed the fire right down to me. Because of the profound toll this took on my psyche, I made the conscious choice never to bring children of my own into this world. This severe emotional abandonment led directly to a classic psychological state: learned helplessness. Despite possessing a high level of intellectual intelligence, My emotional and social intelligence were severely fractured by my upbringing. I didn't learn how to love or preserve myself. Instead, I learned to sit passively in the brokenness, staying small within the pain rather than taking proactive steps to fix my life. For 20 years, this manifested as intense, daily suicidal ideation. My brain desperately craved an escape from the pain of an unloved existence. Waking up every day in a world where you feel entirely unloved is perhaps the most nightmarish reality imaginable. When my family members continued to act as selfish pricks, refusing to spend time with me, ignoring my calls, or flatly refusing to watch the 3-hour documentary on surviving narcissistic marital abuse that I spent years pouring my soul into, it reinforced that isolation. I spent years waiting for a savior, hoping a relative or an outside force would arrive to fix me. Part 4. The Seroquel Miracle and Confronting Physical Pain. The breakthrough began when I addressed my chemical dependencies. For over 15 years, spanning the absolute prime of my life from age 25 to 40, I lived in a thick, medication-induced haze. I was entirely addicted to the sweet, artificial relief of Seroquel, quetiapine, a second-generation atypical antipsychotic prescribed to override my terror of falling asleep. It allowed me to rest when life was completely unbearable, but it also kept me heavily sedated. Recently, I made the radical decision to completely stop taking Seroquel. The result has been nothing short of a miracle. The lifelong medication haze has evaporated. For the first time in memory, I am waking up naturally at dawn, sometimes 4 o'clock or 5 a.m., right as the sun peaks over the horizon and the birds are going wild outside. I bought new bird feeders, and that morning energy has completely transformed my daily routine. The standard metric for severe depression is whether you can get out of bed and care for yourself. Today, I get up and take a shower first thing every single morning. I have entirely overhauled my diet. I stopped drinking beer, cut out soda, eliminated candy, and now actively snack on carrots and celery every single day. However, clearing the psychiatric haze forced me to confront a harsh physical reality. Without the sedation, I woke up to the fact that I am in excruciating, daily physical pain. I have a chronic, severe issue within my stomach and digestive system. Every morning, it hits me with intense agony that only mildly dissipates once I stand up and walk around, returning the moment I lie down. When my ex-wife called me on my birthday and confirmed that I have suffered from these exact stomach issues for our entire history, I realized just how deeply my dissociation had hidden my own physical suffering from my conscious mind. Recognizing this is where I am actively defeating my learned helplessness. Through my clinical background, I know that cognitive behavioral strategies require looking at myself clearly and saying, "Knock it off. You are an adult. You know what you need to do. Now go do it." While conditions like PTSD require radical empathy, and unconditional care for someone's pain regardless of whether you understand it, learned helplessness requires decisive, accountable action. I am taking control. I am utilizing the VA and urgent care networks to see a primary care physician immediately. Whether it is Crohn's disease, a severe bacterial issue, or a profound allergy to the dairy I love, I am going to find the answer. I am no longer going to tolerate waking up wishing for death. Part 5. Grounding in the Present, the Sanctuary and Advanced Medical Equipment. The physical anchor for this new chapter of life is my home. In January of this year, I successfully bought my own house here in the village of Granville, New York. After losing my first family home in the chaos of my divorce 3 years ago, I spent a long, miserable stretch confined to a restrictive second-floor apartment. Now, I am a homeowner again. My new house is an absolute gem, a classic, beautifully maintained early 1900s design with the exact same architecture as my original home. At 1,200 square feet, it is perfectly tailored to my needs. The first floor features a kitchen, a living room, my central headquarters and piano studio, and 2 enclosed porches that serve as vibrant extra rooms. Outside, I have a lovely yard where I am actively investing my energy into nature projects. On the far corner of the property sits a massive, 30-foot-high tree stump from a tree I cut down a decade ago. I am structurally transforming it into a dedicated bird sanctuary. I have affectionately named the entire layout the BSS of GNY at the TSG, the Bird Sanctuary Stump of Granville, New York at the Swinger Grotto. Behind the garage, I cleared out heaps of old wood to build a little nature grotto centered around a fountain-fed bird bath. I am installing a pair of wooden lawn swings. While the name Swinger Grotto cracks me up, I am entirely asexual and socially isolated by choice right now. I simply don't trust people enough to engage with them, but the sheer humor of the project keeps me smiling. Though I lost my entire prized tool collection during the wreckage of my divorce, meaning I often find myself walking in circles around my 2-car garage looking for tools I no longer own, I am getting by. Most importantly, this yard provides an expansive, safe space for my 2 dogs, Jeffy and Marty, my living anchors. Advanced medical equipment is Jeffy and Marty, support animals. Biological purpose. My stepdaughters, Mia and Amelia. Creative sanctuary. The Swinger Grotto and piano setup. I have officially stopped calling them pets and now refer to them as my advanced medical equipment. They are my emotional support animals, and they are the fundamental reason I am alive today. When human love failed me, these 2 little babies provided an absolute, unconditional bond. They give me a reason to get out of bed, they keep me walking miles every day, and they ensure I keep fighting to heal. Part 6. The Soul of a Philosopher and Counselor. At my core, I will always be a professional philosopher and a dedicated student of mental health counseling. I hold a master's degree in clinical therapy, and my mind naturally filters individual pain through universal, existential frameworks. Philosophically, I identify as an agnostic Christian. I find absolute dogmatic belief and absolute atheism to be equally plagued by hubris and arrogance. Very few individuals have spent the raw hours of intense mental energy analyzing the grand questions of existence as I have, only to arrive at the intellectually honest conclusion that we cannot definitively know if a higher power exists. However, I intentionally reject the absolute nihilism that accompanies a completely godless, purely Darwinian universe where everything is merely a brutal, cold fight for survival. I consciously choose to lean into a tiny, intentional 1% of hope. I hope there is a merciful God, and if I am permitted to keep living, heal my body, and conquer my trauma, I know I have a brilliantly promising career ahead of me in clinical healthcare. I am completely alive when studying the evolution of clinical literature. I have mastered the DSM-V through and through, developing a highly intuitive, relationally sharp understanding of complex differential diagnoses. I am eagerly anticipating the upcoming release of the DSM. 6. I cannot wait to see how the scientific community refines the criteria for modern psychological realities, particularly the impending wave of new diagnostic clusters surrounding internet addiction, screen disorders, and digital self-image pathology. Yes. Living in 2026 means working with a world completely detached from the outdated paradigms of the 1970s and 1980s. Mastering this cutting-edge clinical framework will make me exceptionally marketable as a practitioner. My long-term goal remains absolute. I will return to academic study to earn my doctorate in psychiatric medicine. I want to take the literal hellfire and torment that nearly destroyed me and forge it into a clinical weapon to serve others. I must successfully execute service to self right now, so that I am fully equipped to provide profound service to humanity tomorrow. I have never been content with an ordinary, ambitionless life. I want to change the world for the better. As a utilitarian, my permanent life goal is to facilitate the greatest good for the greatest number of people. Part 7. The Repertoire of Expression, Music and Metaphor. Music is the ultimate therapeutic canvas where my philosophy and my trauma intersect. Thanks to my high-end Casio Selviano digital upright piano, my technical skills are finally matching my creative ambitions. I have composed 2 distinct musical masterpieces that encapsulate my life story. Greensleeves of Bitter Descent. This is a profound, modern reimagining of the traditional 16th-century English folk song. It bridges the historical gap between ancient courtly prose and sharp, visceral modern lyrics based entirely on the true story of my life. The narrative arc moves from simple, unrequited longing into absolute existential despair, tracing the devastating structural collapse of my 10-year marriage. I stripped away the passive, puppy-dog longing of the 400-year-old original tune, transforming it into a dark, complex soundscape. It captures the raw, jagged bitterness of betrayal and the slow descent of the soul into the isolated desolation of life after intense spousal abuse. Singing and playing it handles my grief in a way words alone cannot. Holocaust Lullaby. Born from a deep historical drive to comprehend the absolute limits of human suffering, I spent years studying the realities of World War II and the Holocaust. I memorized the histories of the thousands of camps scattered across Europe, from Auschwitz, Birkenau and Dachau to Mauthausen, Ravensbrück, Treblinka, Sobibor, Belzec and Buchenwald. I wrote a memorial piece listing the names of these horrific sites, setting the text to the hauntingly beautiful Baroque composition Sarabande by George Friedrich Handel. While the Holocaust is the most unpleasant subject imaginable, art is meant to honor the totality of the human experience, including its deepest tragedies. When I study how prisoners reached their breaking point and chose to end their lives by intentionally leaping onto the electrified fences, an act known historically as in Den Zorn Gehen, I am filled with a profound sense of perspective. If survivors could endure that unimaginable historical horror and still find the will to live, then I can easily conquer the personal battles in my own life. My musical library has expanded to tens of thousands of pages of sheet music. I relax by playing Bach's Prelude in C major from the Well-Tempered Clavier, Mozart's Ein Kleinnachtmusik and Rondo alla Turca, Billy Joel's Piano Man, and a massive, 100-page virtuoso piano arrangement of Tchaikovsky's Nutcracker Suite from the 197. Zeros. My technical obsession with the Baroque era centers heavily on the concept of basso ostinat. Whether it is the classic 8-chord ground bass of Pachelbel's canon in D major, Day BM, F-sharp M, G D G A, or my current absolute favorite piece, Handel's Passacaglia, I am captivated by structural symmetry. The fact that the repeating bass line of the Passacaglia steps flawlessly through the entire circle of fifths, A-D-G-C-F-B-E flat, in the key of G minor is a work of pure genius that grounds my mind when it feels chait. I see. On the guitar, my repertoire is equally vast, spanning alternative rock staples like Collective Souls, The World I Know, Green Day's Basket Case, Tom Petty's Breakdown, and the brilliant parodies I love to perform, such as Coonfire, my updated 2023 historical remix of Billy Joel's We Didn't Start the Fur, or my extensive 30-verse adaptations of Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah, written in its definitive June 8th time signature. Part 8. Conclusion. Choosing Life in 2026. Ultimately, my journey comes down to a fundamental appreciation for the era I am living in. It is 2026, and we possess the most advanced technology and medical understanding in human history. Beyond my clinical interests and my musical maps, I have a beautifully simple, tangible anchor keeping me excited for the future: the upcoming release of Grand Theft Auto 6 this November. As a lifelong fan who has played every iteration since the original top-down games, the scale of this upcoming $2 billion world simulator is mind-boggling. The sheer detail of its virtual world serves as a brilliant reminder of the creativity human beings are capable of. I want to be alive, healthy, and thriving on November 19th to experience it. I am no longer wallowing in the chaos of my past. My stepdaughters, Mia and Amelia, are coming to visit me at my new home later this summer, and they are my ultimate biological and evolutionary reason to stay strong. They need me, my dogs need me, and I finally need myself. I am stepping out of the shadows of child abandonment, moving past the wreckage of an abusive marriage, and defeating learned helplessness one doctor's appointment and one piano note at a time. I am taking my life back. To anyone reading or listening, stay healthy, stay happy, and know that you are valued. Even as a philosopher who operates in the space of systemic doubt, I choose the path of light. God bless you. I love you. Peace. This essay stands as a powerful testament to my resilience, my brilliance, and my clear momentum forward.